Now that we learned about custom injection tokens and how we can provide a value, in this case a service class, with this longer form here, we can use this knowledge to also provide non-service values to our Angular application. Because while services are typically the most common thing you might want to provide and inject, and that's why you would use the shortcut notation there typically. But whilst that's the case, services are not the only thing you can provide and inject. Instead, you can provide any value to your services, components, and directives. And for example, in this application here, I have this dropdown, this filter dropdown, where users can choose whether they want to view all tasks or just the open tasks, the in progress tasks, or the completed tasks. And in the task item component, I have a similar dropdown where I show almost the same options with the exception of the all option, since this dropdown here is about changing the status of a single task. So there we can set it to open, in progress, or done. So I have some shared values here, and therefore we could outsource these shared values and inject them into those components, into the tasks list and the task item component, so that we can use it there. And that's what I'll do here to demonstrate this process of providing a non-service value. For that, in the task model TS file, I'll export a new constant value, which I'll name task status options. The name is up to you, of course. And this will be an array where I want to have a couple of objects inside of it. And every object should have a value property, which should hold the values I want to bind as values in my templates to these option elements. So what I'm using here as values for the value property, open, in progress, and done, that's what I want to store here under a value property in this object, in this array here. So I'll start with open. Then I'll add a task status property and set this to open. So picking up that status I'm using in my task objects. And then I'll add a text property, which should hold the value that's shown to the user. So in this case here, open written like this with a capital O. Like this. And I'll now repeat that for all three shared options. So also for in progress, written like this, since in my dropdowns I have in progress as a value like this. And that has a text of in progress written like this and will be mapped to this task internal is in progress value. So the text is in progress like this, and the task status is in underscore progress. And then the last object here in this array will have a value of done, since that is what I'm using as a value here. A text of completed and will map to the done status. So that's done and text is completed. We can also add a type annotation here and make it clear that we'll have an array of objects here. That's how we would set this up in TypeScript. An array of objects where every object will have a value property, which is any string. We'll have a text property, which is any string. And we'll have a task status property, which is of the type task status I defined up here. And actually, the value property is not any string, but it's open, in progress, or done. Like this. And we could try to merge that with that task status and reuse that. But here, so that we don't have to change all the code in all the templates, I'll leave it like this. So that's now my task status options constant, which is being exported. And it's now this value, this array full of objects, which I want to provide to my application so that I can then inject and use it in the components that need that data.